first, headline news.
Headline news, I'm Chuck Roberts. Bringing an end to age-old Middle East hostilities tops U.S. Secretary of State James Baker's agenda today. Baker is in Israel, the fourth stop on his 10-day peace mission. He is expected to urge Israeli leaders to make concessions, possibly exchanging occupied territory to help make peace with the Arabs. The secretary will meet separately tomorrow with Israeli and Palestinian leaders. Arab-Israeli violence prompted Baker to cancel a tour of Jerusalem's Old City today. Funerals were held in Jerusalem for 4 Jewish women stabbed to death last weekend. The alleged Palestinian attacker said the incident is a message to Baker. Baker had this reaction.
I am deeply saddened by the appalling and horrifying events of yesterday, and I extend to the families of the deceased, Mrs. Baker and I do, our deepest sympathy and condolences. What has happened, in my view, is an effort to kill peace, and it makes us even more determined to work just as hard as we can to see if we can arrive at peace between Arabs and Israelis.
Baker began his day with a visit to Israel's Holocaust Memorial, Yad Vashem. It's a monument to the 12 million people killed by Nazis during World War II. Baker called the memorial a chilling reminder of the tragedy that must never be repeated. Another violent incident brought home the reality of the Arab-Israeli conflict. The Israeli army says Israeli soldiers killed 6 heavily armed Arab guerrillas who had crossed the border from Jordan. Israeli advisor Avi Posner says it's another incident making it tougher for Israel to talk peace with Arabs.
It is not that terribly important from which group they come. Those are Palestinian terrorists dedicated to murdering Jews, to try and destroy our state, and they have given us an example in the last few days here in Jerusalem and also in the Jordan Valley what they are capable of doing.
3 Israeli soldiers were wounded today in the border clash. President Bush says he can't wait for July 4th because it's going to be a massive star-spangled salute to Gulf War veterans. The president will get a head start on saluting troops this weekend. The White House announced today Mr. Bush will go to Sumter, South Carolina Sunday for a ceremony honoring 2 fighter squadrons due back from the Gulf this week. A number of troops in the Gulf will have to wait a little longer than most to be reunited with loved ones. Bob Franken talked with some of those troops staying behind to tie up loose ends.
You know, so on that day we said, let's take it out and let's take the picture. Said, you know, we were really scared and shaken, but we said we want to do it.
The Iraqis said the 3 had looted houses and raped a Filipina maid. A devout neighbor helped them say their last confession of faith. The execution was thorough. The central stake has gone, but like the videotape, the bullet holes in the goalposts are there to testify. Rashid al-Hashan doesn't think the soldiers were really trying to impress the Kuwaitis with Iraqi justice.
Because they're killing the Kuwait, you know, every day. They're killing a lot of them, they're torturing a lot of them. But they want to show their groups, like, if you don't listen, if you don't obey, if you don't steal, if you don't kill, if you don't, that's what you're going to get.
Rashid and his friend hid the video cassette in the insulation of his refrigerator door till it was safe to bring it out.
About stealing, you know, it's kind of funny, you know, because they brought him in the car, which they stole it from the house. From here, one of our houses. They stole that car, and they brought him in that car.
If the television camera wrought a revolution in war reporting, home video has revolutionized the recording of an occupation. A medium meant for nostalgia, applied to preserving a nightmare. Richard Blystone, CNN, Kuwait City.
Lebanese security sources say 13 Western hostages held by Muslims